Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
DNA, the molecule that carries the very essence of who we are, is the intricate blueprint that writes our story before we are even born. Deep within each of our cells, wrapped in the double helix of DNA, is the code that guides every aspect of our development, from the way our body grows to the way we think, feel, and interact with the world around us. It is a story that unfolds from the very first moment of life, a story written in the language of molecules, in a sequence of tiny letters that hold the vast history of life itself. Imagine, if you will, that your body is a book. Each of your cells is a page, and each of those pages contains a chapter of your life story, written not with words but with sequences of chemical symbols. These symbols, known as nucleotides, are the letters of your personal code: adenine A, thymine T, cytosine C, and guanine G. They come together in precise arrangements, forming the sentences and paragraphs that describe everything about you, from the color of your eyes to the shape of your heart. The process begins before we even take our first breath. Inside the cells of your body, the DNA is already working, telling the story of your existence from the moment of conception. From a single fertilized egg, DNA directs the formation of every cell that makes up your body, from the neurons in your brain to the skin cells that protect you from the outside world. It's a process so intricate, so carefully orchestrated, that the slightest change in this genetic code can alter the very fabric of life itself. Each piece of DNA that you inherit from your parents carries with it a part of their own story, their own blueprint. But while this inheritance plays a crucial role, your DNA is not just a copy of what has come before. It is dynamic, changing over time, influenced by the environment, by experiences, and by chance. Each of us is a unique combination of genetic inheritance, yet we share the same fundamental code that has been passed down through generations. The story of life, as written in our DNA, is one that spans millions of years, a tale of survival, adaptation, and change. Every organism on Earth shares a common ancestor, and our DNA is a living testament to that shared history. It is a book that continues to be written, not just in the present but into the future, as each generation passes its genetic story to the next. But how does this DNA actually guide our lives? How does it create the complex systems that make us human? The answer lies in the way our genes, the sequences of DNA that code for proteins, control the intricate processes of life. Proteins are the building blocks of our bodies, the molecules that perform every function, from carrying oxygen in the blood to transmitting signals in the brain. Each gene contains the instructions for making a specific protein, and these proteins work together to create the structures and systems that define who we are. But DNA is not just a set of instructions, it is also a set of decisions. The way our DNA expresses itself, the way it writes our story, depends on how the genes are turned on or off when they are activated and in what combination they are expressed. This process, known as gene expression, is like the conductor of an orchestra, deciding which instruments will play and when. Gene expression is influenced by many factors, including environmental cues, lifestyle choices, and even experiences. For example, exposure to sunlight can turn on genes involved in the production of melanin, the pigment that gives skin its color. Similarly, stress or trauma can affect the expression of genes involved in mood regulation, influencing everything from our mental health to our behavior. These changes in gene expression are a reminder that while our DNA provides the blueprint, it is not the sole determinant of who we become. We are shaped by our environment, by our choices, and by the experiences that shape our lives. But the story of DNA is not just about the present. It is also about the past, about the long history that has shaped the genetic code we carry today. Each generation carries with it the legacy of the previous one, passing down a portion of the genetic code that has been shaped by millennia of evolution. This code is not static but dynamic, constantly evolving to adapt to new challenges, to changing environments, and to the pressures of survival. The history of life on Earth is written in the language of DNA, a history that spans billions of years, from the first single-celled organisms to the vast diversity of life we see today. The story of DNA is the story of life itself, a story that continues to unfold with each new generation. Our DNA is a record of the past, a map of the journey that life has taken to arrive at the present moment. And as we look to the future, it is the same DNA that will continue to shape the direction of life on Earth. The potential for change, for evolution, is encoded in every cell. In every strand of DNA, it is a story that is not yet finished, a story that is still being written. Each of us carries within us a part of this story, a thread in the tapestry of life, and the choices we make, the lives we live, are part of the next chapter. DNA, in its quiet power, writes the story of who we are, but it also holds the keys to who we might become. It is a story of possibility, of potential, and of the incredible journey that life has taken and will continue to take on this planet. As the dance of life continues, the thread of DNA weaves its complex and intricate pattern, guiding every aspect of our being with a quiet yet powerful hand. Our bodies are vast collections of cells, each of which carries within it the story of who we are and where we come from. The blueprint of life stored in our DNA is the unspoken script of our existence. It is not simply a sequence of codes, but an unfolding narrative, one that is influenced by generations past and shaped by the environment we grow in. This invisible script is, in essence, our connection to the past, an eternal echo that resonates through each of us. What is so fascinating about this story is that it is written not in ink or paper, but in molecules, in the arrangement of adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, the building blocks of life. These 4 letters form the words of our genetic code, and together they create the most intricate story ever told. Every one of us carries within ourselves the same fundamental genetic language, but what makes each of us unique is how these words are arranged, how they are sequenced, and how they interact with the world. Our DNA is not static. It is alive, constantly changing, adapting, and responding to the environment. Our genes, the units of heredity encoded in DNA, are the fundamental units that define us. However, it's not just the presence or absence of genes that matters. It's how these genes are expressed, activated, or silenced that determines the course of our development. Gene expression is akin to a symphony, where the genetic information is the music and the expression is the performance. It's like a conductor guiding an orchestra, ensuring that each instrument plays at the right time and with the right intensity. Just as music creates emotions through sound, the expression of our genes creates our traits, from eye color to susceptibility to disease. When we're born, our genetic blueprint provides the foundation, but how we grow, how we evolve, and how we experience life is written in the way our genes interact with the environment. The environment does not just influence our surroundings, it reaches deep within us, shaping the very molecules of our DNA. The DNA molecule itself is a dynamic entity, a complex structure that's constantly being read and decoded by the cell machinery. The role of the environment in shaping our genetics is profound. This is known as epigenetics. Just as a piano's keys must be struck in a specific sequence to create a melody, epigenetic factors influence how our genetic code is read, turning on or off certain genes depending on external factors like diet, stress, and exposure to toxins. The environment provides the conditions in which our genes express themselves, influencing how we grow, how we feel, and even how we age. While our genetic code remains relatively stable over our lifetimes, the way it is expressed changes, and these changes can have lasting effects, not only on ourselves but on future generations. In this way, our genetic story is not only a product of what we inherit, but also of what we experience. It is an ongoing story, one that is shaped in real time by the choices we make and the environments we inhabit. For instance, studies have shown that children who experience prolonged stress or trauma may have epigenetic changes that influence their emotional and physical health later in life. Similarly, the nutrients we consume, the air we breathe, and the relationships we form can all influence the expression of our genes, altering our trajectory in ways that we might not even fully understand. This interaction between our genetic blueprint and the environment adds a layer of complexity to the story of life. DNA is not a rigid script, it is a malleable one, shaped by both the forces of inheritance and the experiences that life brings. It is as though the story is being written, rewritten, and adapted continuously. Our genes are like sentences that can be rewritten, sentences that tell a story with new chapters added with every experience, every encounter with the world. Our bodies are, in this sense, living expressions of the stories that have been handed down through generations. And yet, even as DNA shapes us, it is not the only force in the narrative. Life itself is filled with unpredictability, with chance, with randomness. Mutations, which are changes in the genetic code, introduce new possibilities, some of which contribute to evolution. Over the course of generations, these mutations, whether caused by external factors like radiation or simply arising randomly, accumulate in populations, leading to changes in traits that may be passed down to future generations. These changes, these mutations, are the seeds of evolution. They are the small shifts in the genetic code that allow organisms to adapt to new environments, to new challenges. Over millennia, the cumulative effect of these mutations has shaped the vast diversity of life we see today. From the smallest bacterium to the largest whale, every living thing is a product of these small genetic changes, passed down through countless generations. And it's not just the mutations that occur during an individual's lifetime that affect the course of evolution. It's the fact that genetic information is passed on, not just in the present, but also over the span of generations. The genetic story of life on Earth is a long one, stretching back millions of years, and each generation adds its own chapter to this unfolding narrative. These generations are not isolated from one another but interconnected, as each carries a piece of the genetic code that has been passed down over time. In this way, we are not separate from the past but part of it. The DNA in our cells contains traces of our ancestors, echoes of their existence, their survival, and their adaptation. And just as we inherit our DNA from our parents, so too do we pass it on to the next generation, continuing the cycle of life and ensuring that the genetic story continues to unfold. Our DNA is a bridge between the past, the present, and the future. It is the record of life itself, a testament to the incredible complexity and adaptability of living organisms. It is a code that has been written over millions of years, a story of survival, of adaptation, and of transformation. It is through the transmission of DNA that we come to understand the deep connections between all living things, as every organism carries within it a piece of the same ancient code. The DNA in our cells is the legacy of countless generations, and through this legacy, we are connected to the history of life on Earth. Our DNA tells the story of who we are, of where we come from, and of where we are going. It is the thread that links us to the past and the future, a story that continues to unfold with every passing moment, with every new life born into the world. And just as DNA shapes our physical form, so too does it influence our behavior, our thoughts, and our emotions. The story of life is not just a biological one, it is a psychological one as well. The interplay between our genes and our environment shapes who we are in ways both visible and invisible, influencing everything from our temperament to our ability to learn. Our DNA holds the keys to understanding the full complexity of life, and as we explore this intricate code, we come closer to understanding the story that has been written for us and the story that we will continue to write as we move forward. The power of DNA lies not only in its ability to determine our physical traits, but in its ability to connect us to the past and guide the future. It is in this quiet code, this hidden language, that the story of life continues to unfold. As the story of DNA continues to unfold, we begin to realize that this intricate code is not only the blueprint for who we are but also a map for how we connect to the larger world, a reflection of the deep history of life on Earth. From the moment we take our first breath, our DNA begins to work, shaping the course of our lives and determining the way our bodies and minds interact with the environment. But this process is not predetermined. It is dynamic, responsive, and evolving, shaped not only by the genetic information passed down through generations, but also by the experiences and environments we encounter. Every decision, every interaction, every experience leaves an imprint, altering the expression of our genes and in turn influencing who we become. The influence of DNA on our lives is not static, and this realization is both humbling and empowering. Our genes provide the basic framework, the starting point of our life story, but it is through our experiences that this story unfolds. It is in the way we interact with the world, how we cope with adversity, and how we form relationships that our genetic code is expressed, adjusted, and even altered. The concept of gene expression is central to understanding this process. DNA is not just a passive blueprint but an active guide, with genes being turned on or off in response to the environment, much like a book being read aloud, with each chapter taking on a different meaning depending on the voice that reads it. These changes, though not always permanent, can have lasting effects, influencing everything from our behavior to our physical health. This is where the fascinating world of epigenetics comes into play. Why the study of changes in gene expression that do not involve changes to the underlying DNA sequence? The environment, both external and internal, has a powerful effect on how our genes are expressed. Factors such as stress, diet, exposure to toxins, and even our social relationships can influence how our DNA is read and interpreted. This means that our health, our mental well-being, and our very sense of self are not solely determined by the genetic code we inherit, but also by the way our genes interact with the world around us. It is a dance between nature and nurture, a dynamic interplay that shapes us in ways both subtle and profound. The remarkable thing about this process is that it happens continuously, in real time. From the moment of conception, the genetic information contained in our DNA begins to express itself, guiding the formation of our organs, our tissues, and our cells. As we grow, this genetic blueprint continues to direct the development of our bodies, shaping how we develop and function. Yet it is not just our bodies that DNA shapes, it is also our minds. The way we think, the way we feel, the way we respond to the world is also influenced by the genetic code we carry. Our emotions, our memories, and our capacity for learning are not simply the result of external influences, but are deeply rooted in the genetic instructions passed down to us. The brain, with its incredible complexity, is shaped by the expression of genes that control everything from neurotransmitter function to synaptic growth. In this way, DNA is not just a blueprint for our bodies, but a guide for our cognitive and emotional experiences. But while DNA provides the foundation for our mental and physical traits, it does not determine them entirely. There is always room for change, for adaptation, for growth. The brain's plasticity, its ability to rewire itself in response to new experiences, shows that our minds are not set in stone. Just as DNA shapes the initial structure of the brain, the experiences we have throughout our lives can shape its function, strengthen or weaken its connections, and influence how we perceive the world. This ability of the brain to change and adapt is a testament to the power of experience over genetics. It is a reminder that we are not bound by our genetic code, but that we have the ability to shape our futures through our choices, our actions, and the way we interact with the world. This interplay between genetics and experience is a central theme in the ongoing story of life. Just as DNA guides our development, our experiences shape how we express that guidance. We are the product of both our inheritance and our environment, two forces that work in tandem to create who we are. But DNA's influence extends far beyond the individual. It is, in many ways, the thread that connects all life on Earth. Every living organism, from the smallest bacteria to the largest mammal, shares a common ancestor, and in our DNA, we carry the echoes of that shared history. The story of life is written in the language of genes, and the DNA in our cells is a living record of the journey of life on Earth. Our DNA contains within it the story of evolution, the story of how life has adapted and changed over billions of years. It is a testament to the resilience of life, to its ability to survive, to adapt, and to thrive in an ever-changing world. From the earliest single-celled organisms to the vast diversity of life we see today, DNA has been the constant, the silent witness to the unfolding of life's grand narrative. This connection to the past is not just a biological fact, but a deep existential truth. When we look at our DNA, we are looking at the history of life itself. We are not isolated beings, separate from the world around us. We are part of a larger story, a story that is still being written, not just in our genes, but in the lives we lead, the choices we make, and the impact we have on the planet. Our DNA is the bridge that connects us to our ancestors, to the creatures that walked the earth before us, and to the generations that will come after. It is a reminder that life is a continuous cycle, one that is constantly evolving, changing, and adapting. It is through this shared genetic code that we are all connected, not just to each other, but to the entire web of life on Earth. As we continue to explore the mysteries of DNA, we realize that we are not just studying a molecule, we are studying the essence of life itself. DNA is the key to understanding who we are, how we got here, and where we are going. It is the story of life, written in the language of molecules, and it is a story that continues to unfold with every passing generation. The more we learn about DNA, the more we uncover about the mysteries of existence, about the profound connection between all living things, and about our place in the grand tapestry of life. And as we look to the future, we realize that the story of DNA is far from over. With the advent of genetic technologies, we are just beginning to scratch the surface of what DNA can tell us. The ability to edit, manipulate, and understand DNA holds the potential to change the course of human history, offering new possibilities for medicine, agriculture, and even the way we understand evolution itself. But with this power comes great responsibility. We must use our knowledge of DNA wisely, with respect for the natural world and the life it sustains. DNA has written the story of life on Earth, but it is up to us to ensure that we continue to write this story with care, with wisdom, and with an understanding of the profound interconnectedness of all life. As we move forward into a future shaped by genetics, let us remember that our story is not just our own. It is the story of life itself, a story that we are all a part of, written in the very molecules that make us who we are. Water, the most essential element of life, is something that we often take for granted. We drink it, we bathe in it, we swim in it, and yet we rarely stop to consider its deeper nature, its fundamental role in the dance of life. Water is far more than just a liquid that sustains us. It is an element that shapes the very world around us, carrying with it the memory of everything it has touched. The memory of water is a subtle, almost magical thing, woven into the fabric of life itself. It is the water that has flowed through rivers for centuries, the water that has nourished plants and animals, the water that has shaped landscapes and formed the oceans. Water has been a constant companion to life on Earth, a silent witness to the unfolding of time. It is in the water that the stories of the earth are written as it flows across the land, moving through every corner of the world. Water in its many forms is always moving, always changing, always shaping the environment around it. From the gentle trickle of a stream to the roaring crash of an ocean wave, water moves with purpose, carving out valleys, filling lakes, and nourishing the land. It is the force that keeps the planet alive, the element that sustains all living creatures. But what is it about water that makes it so vital to life? Why is it that water can hold the memory of the earth, carrying the stories of its history, its landscapes, and its creatures? To understand this, we must first understand the molecular structure of water. Water is a simple molecule, made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom, yet it is a molecule with extraordinary properties. Water is a solvent, a medium in which many chemical reactions take place. It is a universal solvent, meaning it can dissolve a wide variety of substances, from salts to sugars to gases. This ability to dissolve and carry substances is what makes water so important to life. Water transports nutrients, minerals, and gases through the bodies of living organisms, enabling them to survive. In plants, water is the means by which nutrients are absorbed from the soil and transported to the leaves, where they are used in the process of photosynthesis. In animals, water is essential for digestion, circulation, and the removal of waste products. But it is not just in living organisms that water plays a crucial role. Water shapes the very surface of the earth. Over millions of years, water has carved out mountains, shaped coastlines, and formed the valleys and rivers that make up the planet's landscape. The power of water to shape the land is immense. Rivers, which seem so gentle and serene, have the power to cut through solid rock, forming deep canyons and valleys. The movement of water over time is what has shaped the Earth's surface, creating the features that we see today. It is the memory of water that is held in the landscape, in the rock and the soil, in the very fabric of the Earth itself. Water also plays a key role in regulating the planet's temperature. The oceans, which cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface, act as a giant heat sink, absorbing heat from the sun and distributing it around the planet. Water has a high heat capacity, meaning it can absorb and release large amounts of heat without changing temperature drastically. This ability to regulate temperature is what keeps the planet's climate relatively stable, making Earth a hospitable place for life. Without water, the Earth would be a much hotter place, and life as we know it could not exist. In the atmosphere, water vapor plays a similar role, acting as a greenhouse gas and helping to maintain the planet's temperature. The memory of water is not just about the physical properties of water, but also about the connections it creates. Water is a connector, a bridge between all living things. It is through water that life on Earth is linked together. Every living creature, from the smallest microbe to the largest mammal, depends on water to survive. Water flows through the bodies of plants and animals, connecting them to the larger cycles of the Earth. The water in our bodies is the same water that has existed on the planet for millions of years, passed down through countless generations of organisms. The water that flows through the rivers today is the same water that once nourished the dinosaurs, that once filled the oceans that covered the Earth in ancient times. Water carries with it the memory of all the life it has supported, all the places it has traveled, and all the creatures it has nourished. The memory of water is embedded in every drop, every molecule, every current that flows across the Earth. The water that nourishes us today is not just a resource, it is a living, breathing history of the planet. It is the link between the past, present, and future of life on Earth. Water, in its constant movement, is a force of renewal. It cycles through the planet, never truly disappearing, but always changing form. It evaporates into the atmosphere, condenses into clouds, falls as rain, and flows back into the oceans. This cycle, known as the water cycle, is a continuous process that sustains life on Earth. The water that falls as rain today may have been part of a glacier millions of years ago, or part of the ocean's surface before that. Water is the planet's greatest recycler, constantly moving and transforming, creating new opportunities for life to flourish. But even in its abundance, water is not unlimited. Fresh water, the kind of water we rely on for drinking, agriculture, and industry, makes up only a small fraction of the Earth's total water supply. Only about 3% of the water on Earth is fresh water, and of that, less than 1% is easily accessible for human use. The rest is locked away in glaciers and deep underground. The scarcity of fresh water is a growing concern in many parts of the world, as human populations increase and the demand for water intensifies. The memory of water, then, is also a reminder of our responsibility to protect and conserve this precious resource. We must learn to use water wisely, to preserve the sources of fresh water, and to ensure that future generations will have access to this life-sustaining element. The water cycle, though a natural process, is being disrupted by human activity. Pollution, deforestation, and climate change are all altering the patterns of the water cycle, causing imbalances that can lead to droughts, floods, and water scarcity. As the Earth's temperature rises, the water cycle is changing, with more intense storms, higher evaporation rates, and shifts in precipitation patterns. These changes are already being felt in many parts of the world, where communities are facing increasing challenges in securing clean water. The memory of water is not just a reminder of the past, it is a call to action for the future. As we face the challenges of a changing climate and a growing population, it is more important than ever to understand the role of water in sustaining life. Water is not just a resource to be used and consumed, It is a part of the Earth's delicate balance, a force that connects all living things. The memory of water teaches us that we are not separate from the natural world but a part of it. Our survival depends on the health of the planet's ecosystems, and water is at the center of that health. If we are to protect the future of life on Earth, we must begin by protecting the water that sustains it. As we look to the future, we must remember that the song of water, its rhythm and its flow, is the song of life itself. It is a song that has been sung for billions of years and will continue to be sung as long as life exists on Earth. It is the song of connection, of renewal, and of the profound relationship between all living things. Water is not just a resource, it is the silent thread that connects all forms of life. From the deepest oceans to the highest mountain peaks, it is the lifeblood that sustains the planet, a force that shapes the landscape and the creatures that inhabit it. The cycle of water is the dance of life itself, an ongoing process that renews, refreshes, and reshapes the world. And yet, beneath this ever-moving cycle lies a stillness, a quiet reflection of the deeper memory of water, a memory that is written in the very molecules that make up this essential element. Water's memory is not just a matter of its ability to retain and carry life, but also of its connection to the past. Every drop of water that falls today has been part of the Earth's journey for millennia, cycling through rivers, oceans, clouds, and even the bodies of living creatures. The water you drink today may have been part of a glacier in the distant past, or a rainstorm that fell hundreds of miles away. Each drop, each molecule, carries the history of the planet itself. Water is the planet's storyteller, passing down its tale from one generation to the next. It is the medium through which life connects across time, linking us to the distant past and the faro. Future, the water in our bodies, the water that nourishes the land, the water that flows through the rivers, is part of a vast and ancient cycle, a cycle that has shaped the Earth and its inhabitants for billions of years. This memory of water is not just a metaphor but a living reality, a force that influences life on Earth in ways that we are still discovering. Water is central to the creation and sustenance of life. It shapes ecosystems, governs climate patterns, and provides the foundation for all living things. It is through water that plants and animals thrive, for without water there can be no life. The plants that form the foundation of the food chain rely on water to absorb nutrients from the soil and grow. The animals that feed on these plants depend on the water to nourish their bodies and provide the means for survival. Even humans, whose relationship with water is often taken for granted, are intimately tied to this element. Our bodies are composed of more than 60% water, and every cell, every tissue, every organ depends on water to function. Our survival is, in many ways, a testament to the power of water's memory, the way it has shaped life on Earth and continues to shape it today. Water is also central to the cycles of nature, regulating the climate and sustaining the processes that make life possible. The Earth's water cycle is a continuous, interconnected process in which water moves from the oceans to the atmosphere, from the atmosphere to the land, and from the land back to the oceans. It is a cycle of renewal, one that sustains ecosystems and nourishes life. Water evaporates from the oceans, forming clouds that drift across the sky, carrying moisture to the land. When the clouds reach cooler air, they release their moisture in the form of rain or snow, replenishing rivers, lakes, and groundwater. This water, once it has nourished the land, eventually returns to the oceans, where the cycle begins anew. It is a cycle that has been ongoing for millions of years, shaping the Earth's climate and ensuring that life continues to thrive. In this cycle, water is both a giver and a taker, constantly moving and transforming, shaping the land and sustaining life. The memory of water is reflected in the rhythms of nature itself, the ebb and flow of the tides, the rise and fall of the seasons, the movements of the stars and planets. Water is the medium through which these rhythms are played, creating a harmony that sustains life on Earth. The water cycle is a symphony of interconnected forces, a delicate dance that connects the atmosphere, the land, and the oceans in a way that is essential to life. Yet, despite the central role that water plays in sustaining life, it is not an infinite resource. Freshwater, the kind of water that humans depend on for drinking, irrigation, and industry, makes up only a small fraction of the Earth's total water supply. Of the nearly 1.4 billion cubic kilometers of water on the planet, only about 3% is freshwater, and of that, less than 1% is accessible for human use. The rest is locked away in glaciers, polar ice caps, and deep underground aquifers far from our reach. This makes the management and conservation of water a critical issue for the survival of humanity. As human populations grow and the demand for freshwater increases, the pressure on the planet's water resources becomes more pronounced. Deforestation, industrialization, and climate change are all contributing to the depletion of water supplies and the contamination of freshwater sources. In many parts of the world, communities face water scarcity, with rivers running dry, aquifers depleting, and water becoming a precious commodity that is no longer guaranteed. The memory of water, in this sense, becomes a lesson. It reminds us that water is not just a resource to be used, but a life-giving force that must be protected and preserved. It is a reminder that the health of the Earth's ecosystems and the future of life on this planet depends on our ability to manage and conserve water wisely. The interconnectedness of life and water is a central theme of this memory. Water sustains life, but life also sustains water. The health of ecosystems, from forests to wetlands to grasslands, depends on the careful balance of water in the environment. The destruction of these ecosystems, whether through deforestation, pollution, or climate change, disrupts the natural water cycle, leading to a cascade of consequences that affect all forms of life. This is especially true in areas where water scarcity is already a pressing concern. As water supplies dwindle, ecosystems are disrupted, agricultural production is reduced, and communities are forced to cope with the devastating effects of water stress. The impact of this disruption extends far beyond the local environment. The consequences of water mismanagement can ripple across entire regions, leading to conflict, migration, and social unrest. The memory of water, in this sense, is a call to action, a reminder that our survival is inextricably linked to the health of the planet's water systems. The management of water is not just an environmental issue, but a social, political, and economic one. It is a global challenge that requires the cooperation of governments, industries, and individuals to address. In many parts of the world, efforts are being made to improve water conservation, restore ecosystems, and reduce pollution. Technologies are being developed to recycle water, desalinate seawater, and improve the efficiency of irrigation systems. But these efforts must be expanded and strengthened to ensure that the Earth's water resources are protected for future generations. The memory of water is not just a story of the past, but a story of the future. It is a story that we are all a part of, a story that we must write together, with care, with respect, and with a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. The water that flows through the rivers, the oceans, and the clouds is the same water that nourishes our bodies, our crops, and our ecosystems. It is the thread that links all living things, and it is our responsibility to ensure that this thread remains strong and vibrant. Water is the most fundamental of all resources, and its memory is a reminder that life on Earth is a fragile, interconnected web. It is a call to action, a challenge to live in harmony with the Earth and its resources, and to protect the future of life for generations to come. As we reflect on the journey that water has taken through the history of the Earth, we begin to see its role as more than just a simple resource. Water is the keeper of the Earth's story, a living witness to the transformations of the planet. It carries with it the imprints of ancient rivers that once carved the land, the sediments of oceans that once covered vast swaths of the Earth, and the molecules that have cycled through countless life forms. The memory of water is embedded in the Earth itself, in the landscapes that we see, in the weather patterns that shape our lives, and in the rhythms of the planet's natural cycles. It is an invisible force, moving silently beneath the surface, yet its effects are felt everywhere, from the very cells of our bodies to the oceans that stretch across the globe. The cycle of water is one of constant renewal, of change and continuity. It is the dance of the elements, a rhythm that sustains life. Every drop of water that falls to the ground, every river that winds its way through valleys, every ocean that swells with the tide, is part of a cycle that has been unfolding for billions of years. Water flows through the land, nourishing the soil, sustaining life, and carrying the traces of the world it touches. It is through water that life itself continues, and through its movement that the planet remains alive. The memory of water is not just about its ability to sustain life in the present, but also about its connection to the past. The Earth's water, though constantly moving, is the same water that has existed since the beginning of time. It has traveled through the ages, from the first rains that fell on the Earth's surface to the waters that once filled the ancient seas and lakes. This water, now flowing through rivers and oceans, was once part of the bodies of extinct creatures, part of the rainstorms that fell on distant lands, part of the very essence of the Earth's evolution. It is this continuous cycle of movement and transformation that gives water its deep connection to the Earth's past, and it is through this memory that we understand the cycles of life itself. As we look to the future, the memory of water offers us not only a reflection of what has been but also a roadmap for what is to come. In the face of climate change, water plays an increasingly central role in the survival of life on Earth. The rising temperatures of the planet are altering the distribution and availability of water, changing the patterns of rainfall, the flow of rivers, and the health of ecosystems. In some areas, water is becoming scarcer, with droughts and water shortages becoming more frequent. In other places, the oceans are rising, inundating coastlines and threatening the lives of millions. The memory of water in this context is a reminder of the delicate balance that exists between the Earth and its resources. The water cycle, which has sustained life for millennia, is now under threat, and it is our responsibility to protect this vital system. To do so, we must begin by recognizing the interconnectedness of all life and the role that water plays in sustaining this balance. The health of our rivers, oceans, and lakes is directly tied to the health of our planet's ecosystems. Pollution, overuse, and climate change are all putting tremendous pressure on the water cycle, disrupting the flow of water and reducing its availability. As we deplete the planet's water resources, we know only risk the survival of countless species, but also the future of humanity itself. Water scarcity is becoming a global crisis, and it is one that requires immediate action. But the memory of water also holds the key to our salvation. Water, in its eternal cycle, has the ability to regenerate, to heal, and to restore balance. By protecting and conserving our water resources, we can help restore the health of the Earth's ecosystems and ensure that future generations have access to the water they need to survive. Sustainable water management, the reduction of pollution, and the restoration of wetlands and watersheds are all critical steps in preserving the water cycle and ensuring the continued flow of life on Earth. As we work to restore balance to the water systems of the planet, we are not only protecting the environment, but also protecting the future of humanity. In the end, the memory of water teaches us that life is a continuous cycle, one that depends on the delicate balance of nature. The flow of water through the Earth is a metaphor for the flow of life itself, a reminder that we are all interconnected, and that the health of the planet is intimately tied to the health of its water systems. Just as water nourishes the land, it also nourishes us. The health of our bodies, our societies, and our world depends on the health of the water that sustains us. It is through water that life flows, and it is through our collective efforts that we can ensure this flow continues. The memory of water is a gift, a reminder that life is not just about the present moment, but about the legacy we leave for future generations. It is a call to action, to protect the natural resources that sustain us, and to work together to ensure that the story of water continues to be written for generations to come. The water that flows through our rivers, the water that fills our oceans, the water that falls from the sky, is a living testament to the cycles of life on Earth. It is a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things and of our responsibility to care for the planet that sustains us. As we move forward, we must recognize the role that water plays in the future of life on Earth. We must cherish and protect this precious resource, for in doing so, we ensure the continued survival of all living things. The memory of water is not just a reflection of the past, but a vision for the future, one in which the Earth's water systems are healthy, sustainable, and capable of supporting life for generations to come. Deep within your bones, beneath the surface of the skin, a quiet force pulses. It is not something you can see, nor something you can feel in the conventional sense, but it is there in every cell, in every joint, in every step you take. This force is light, a light that dwells in the very marrow of your bones, a light that is both ancient and constant. It is not the bright, blinding light of the sun or the flicker of stars in the night sky, but a softer, subtler glow, one that connects you to the vast expanse of the universe. The human body is in many ways a vessel for this light, a living entity that holds within it the energy of the cosmos. Within your bones, deep inside the cells, is a process that is as old as life itself, a process that captures the essence of light and transforms it into something fundamental to your existence. This process, called bioluminescence, is the ability of living organisms to produce light. While you may not glow like a firefly or a jellyfish, the biochemical reactions that occur within your body are no less magical, no less remarkable. For the light in your bones is the same light that has existed since the dawn of time, the same light that has powered the evolution of life on Earth. It is the light that allows your cells to function, that allows your muscles to move and your heart to beat. The light that lives in your bones is not something separate from you, it is you. It is the energy that fuels your every action, your every thought, your every emotion. It is the light of life itself. The origins of this light are both simple and profound. It is a byproduct of the energy that powers your cells, the chemical reactions that take place every second of every day, deep within the mitochondria of your cells. These reactions are responsible for producing the energy your body needs to function, from the contraction of muscles to the transmission of nerve impulses. It is through this energy, this light, that your body can move, can think, can feel. Your bones, like every other part of your body, are filled with cells that are constantly working, constantly producing and using energy. The cells of your bones, known as osteocytes, are connected to one another by tiny channels called canaliculi, which allow them to communicate and share information. These cells work together to maintain the strength and integrity of your bones, repairing them when they are damaged and ensuring they can't. In you to grow and develop, but beyond their structural role, these bone cells also participate in the complex dance of energy production and transformation. When your bones move, when they bear weight, when they stretch and bend, they are also harnessing the power of light. This light, this energy, is not just the fuel for your movements, it is also the foundation of your health. Your bones are a vital part of your body's immune system, a system that is responsible for protecting you from disease, infection, and injury. Within your bones, specifically in the bone marrow, blood cells are produced. These cells, from red blood cells that carry oxygen to white blood cells that fight off infection, are critical for your survival. The light within your bones, then, is not just a passive force. It is an active participant in the workings of your body, helping to maintain the balance and harmony that is necessary for health. But the light that lives in your bones is not just a physical phenomenon. It is also a symbol, a metaphor for the deeper connections that exist between all living things. Just as the light within your bones is the result of complex biochemical processes, so too is life itself the result of complex interconnections, networks of energy and matter that work together to sustain the whole. Your bones, like all living things, are interconnected with the world around you. They are shaped by the forces of nature, by the environment in which you live, and by the people with whom you interact. The light in your bones is a reflection of the light that exists in the world, the light of the sun, the light of the stars, the light of the universe itself. This cosmic light is present in all things, in the smallest particles that make up your body to the largest galaxies that make up the universe. It is the energy that sustains life, the energy that flows through every living organism, the energy that connects everything. When we speak of the light in our bones, we are speaking of the energy that makes life possible, the force that allows us to grow, to adapt, to survive. It is the light that has existed since the beginning of time, the light that has powered the evolution of life on Earth, and the light that will continue to sustain life for as long as the planet endures. But while the light in your bones is a reminder of your connection to the universe, it is also a reminder of the fragility of life. The body, like all living things, is constantly changing, constantly evolving. The cells that make up your bones are not permanent. They are constantly being replaced, constantly being renewed. Bone tissue is constantly being broken down and rebuilt in a process called remodeling. This process ensures that your bones remain strong and healthy, adapting to the stresses and strains placed upon them. But just as your bones are constantly changing, so too is the light within them. The energy that powers your cells, the light that allows you to move and grow, is not constant. It fluctuates, ebbs and flows, depending on your health, your environment, and your state of being. Stress, illness, and injury can disrupt the delicate balance of energy within your body, weakening your bones and making them more susceptible to damage. Similarly, lifestyle choices such as diet and exercise can have a profound impact on the strength and vitality of your bones. A healthy diet rich in calcium and vitamin D can help to support bone health, while regular physical activity can help to strengthen bones and prevent osteoporosis. The light in your bones, like the light of the stars, requires nurturing and care. Without it, your body would falter, and the harmony of life would be disrupted. The health of your bones and the light they contain is a reflection of the health of your body as a whole. Just as the bones support the body, so too does the light within them support the vitality of life itself. The memory of this light is carried in every cell, in every breath, in every movement. It is a light that has been passed down through generations, carried in the DNA that makes up your body, and shared across the generations that have come before you. It is a reminder that we are not isolated, but connected to every living thing on Earth. The light in our bones is a legacy, a connection to the past and to the future, a reminder that life is a cycle, ever-changing, ever-renewing. The memory of this light speaks to the resilience of life, to its ability to adapt, to evolve, and to thrive. It is the energy that sustains us, the force that drives us forward, and the light that guides our journey. This light is not just within us, it is a part of us. It is the heartbeat of life itself. And as we move through the world, we carry this light with us, a reminder that we are all connected, all part of the same story. The light that lives within us is a reflection of the vast and subtle forces at work in the universe. It is not a light that can be seen with the eyes, but one that emanates from the very structure of life itself. It is the same light that guides the movement of the stars across the night sky, the same energy that powers the photosynthesis of plants and the beating of our hearts. It is an energy that connects us to the world, to the earth, to the stars. In every living being, from the smallest microbe to the largest mammal, this energy flows through the body, invisible but essential, enabling life to move, to grow, to adapt. It is a force that sustains us, not just physically, but also mentally and spiritually. It is a force that flows through the veins of our existence, connecting every part of us to the greater whole of the universe. The light within our bones, the energy that powers every cell, every tissue, every organ, is a part of this vast, interconnected web of life. It is the force that allows us to exist as we are, that gives us the ability to move, to think, to feel, to create. But this light, this energy, is not constant. It ebbs and flows, it rises and falls with the rhythm of our lives. It changes with our moods, with our health, with the world around us. Stress, illness, and fatigue can drain this energy, while rest, nourishment, and connection to nature can replenish it. Just as the bones in our body are constantly being broken down and rebuilt, so too is the energy within us constantly shifting, adapting to the demands of life. This ebb and flow of energy is not something we often notice, but it is always there, influencing everything we do, every decision we make, every emotion we feel. Our bones, like all parts of our body, are both the vessels and the recipients of this energy. They are not merely passive structures, rigid and unchanging. They are living tissues, dynamic and responsive, constantly adapting to the forces at work in the world around us. The strength of our bones, their ability to support us as we move through the world, is a direct result of the energy that flows through them. Our bones are made of a substance called hydroxyapatite, a mineral that gives them their strength, but this strength is not just physical. It is the energy within the bone marrow, where blood cells are created, that keeps our bones alive, that keeps them strong. The marrow is a living organ, a site of constant production and renewal, where the light of life is continuously passed through the body. The memory of this light, this energy, is encoded in every bone, in every cell, in every thread of DNA. It is the story of life itself, written in the bones, passed down from one generation to the next, an unbroken chain of life that stretches back to the dawn of existence. Just as the bones carry the energy of the body, so too do they carry the history of life on Earth. The structure of our bones, their density, their shape, their strength, all reflect the experiences of our ancestors. The human skeleton has evolved over millions of years, adapting to the changing environment, to the needs of survival. Our bones are a record of this evolution, a map of the journey of life on Earth, from the earliest ancestors to the present day. This connection between our bones and the history of life is more than just symbolic. It is written in the very structure of our bodies, in the genes that control the growth and development of our bones, and in the way those bones adapt to the world around them. The light that lives in our bones is a living memory, a record of the forces that have shaped us, both as individuals and as a species. And just as the bones hold the memory of life, they also hold the potential for the future. The process of bone remodeling, the continuous cycle of breaking down and rebuilding bone tissue, is not just a way to maintain the strength of our bones. It is a process of growth and adaptation. Our bones are constantly responding to the demands we place on them, whether it is the weight of our bodies or the impact of physical activity. This ability to adapt, to grow stronger in response to stress, is a reflection of the dynamic nature of life itself. Just as our bones are constantly changing, so too is the world around us. The forces of nature, from the shifting of tectonic plates to the movement of glaciers, shape the Earth, just as our bones are shaped by the forces we encounter in life. This dynamic interaction between our bodies and the world is a constant reminder of the interconnectedness of all things, of the way in which we are all shaped by the forces of nature, and the way in which we, in turn, shape the world. The light in our bones, then, is not just a source of energy, it is a source of resilience. It is the force that allows us to adapt, to survive, and to thrive in a world that is constantly changing. Our bones, like all living things, are constantly evolving, constantly responding to the demands of the world. This evolution is not just physical, but also spiritual. The light within us is not just the energy T. Hat keeps our bodies moving. It is the energy that connects us to the larger world, to the Earth, to the cosmos. It is through this energy that we are able to reach out and connect with others, to experience love, to feel empathy, to find meaning and purpose in our lives. The light in our bones is a reminder that we are not isolated from the world, but deeply connected to it. Our survival, our strength, our resilience is tied to the Earth and the universe, to the forces that shape the world around us. As we move through life, we are guided by the light that resides within us, a light that has been passed down from our ancestors, a light that continues to evolve and grow. It is through this light that we are able to navigate the world, to make decisions, to adapt to change, and to create the future. And as we embrace the light in our bones, we also embrace the larger story of life, the story of evolution, of survival, of resilience. The light that lives in our bones is not just a reflection of who we are, but a guide to who we can become. It is the light that will carry us forward, that will help us overcome the challenges of life, that will enable us to continue the story of life on Earth. The memory of this light is the memory of life itself, and it is up to us to honor it, to protect it, and to ensure that it continues to shine brightly for generations to come. The light that lives within us, encoded in the very structure of our bones, is not just a fleeting force, but a lasting imprint that connects us to the Earth's endless cycle of creation and transformation. It moves through us like the passing of the seasons, ever-changing yet constant. It is the glow of life, pulsing through our cells, circulating like the very blood in our veins. This light is a reminder that we are never truly alone. It binds us to every living organism that has come before us, to those who will follow, and to the unbroken chain of life that stretches across the planet. When we consider the light within our bones, we see not just the manifestation of life, but the memory of existence itself. It is a story written in each generation, encoded in the DNA passed down from our ancestors, carrying with it the experiences, the adaptations, and the wisdom of those who have come before us. The cycles of life from birth to death are inscribed in this light. It moves through every living creature, a silent but powerful force, shaping our growth and guiding us toward our potential. The light of life has been evolving for millions of years, its trajectory intertwined with the rhythms of the earth, just as the movement of the stars mirrors the movements of life itself. As we live, our bones continue to hold this memory, the experiences of the body, the struggles, the triumphs, the moments of stillness, and the moments of rapid change. This memory, embedded deep within the marrow of our bones, is more than just biological data. It is the pulse of life, passed down and continuously rewritten, echoing across time. It is the legacy of adaptation, survival, and transformation, as living organisms respond to the ever-changing forces of nature. Yet even as the light in our bones keeps us tethered to the past, it also carries us into the future. It is through the intricate dance of cellular division and the ongoing renewal of bone tissue that we continue to evolve, not just physically, but on a deeper, more fundamental level. Our bones adapt to the forces placed upon them, strengthening in response to stress, bending and flexing to accommodate the movements of life. They are not static, they are alive, responding to the rhythms of the world around them. This ability to grow, to adapt, and to respond is not just a biological necessity, it is a reflection of life itself, a reminder that we too are constantly changing. The light that lives in our bones is not just the energy that sustains us, but a guide, illuminating the path ahead. It is the force that helps us overcome the challenges we face, that enables us to adapt to new environments, to build relationships, to learn and grow. It is the energy that allows us to heal, to recover, and to thrive in the face of adversity. The resilience of our bones, their ability to withstand pressure, to regenerate, and to evolve, is a direct reflection of the resilience of life itself. This resilience is not just a biological fact, it is a spiritual one. It speaks to our ability to persevere, to endure, and to adapt to the ever-changing world around us. It is through the light in our bones that we are able to face the uncertainties of life with courage and grace. But while the light within us is a symbol of our resilience, it is also a reminder of our fragility. Our bones, though strong and enduring, are not invincible. The light within them can fade when the body is not cared for. Injuries, illness, aging, all these factors can take a toll on the strength and vitality of our bones, dimming the light that flows through them. As we age, our bones become less dense, more prone to fracture, and less able to regenerate. The resilience that we once took for granted may begin to wane, and with it, our ability to move through the world as we once did. This fragility is not something to fear, but something to acknowledge. It is a natural part of life cycle, a reminder that every living being, no matter how resilient, is subject to the passage of time. The light in our bones is a fleeting gift, one that we must cherish and care for. And yet, even as our bones become more fragile, the light within them continues to guide us. It is a testament to the power of life's resilience, to the enduring spirit that carries us forward, even in the face of challenges. The fragility of our bones is a reminder that we are not invincible, but it is also a reminder that we are capable of incredible strength. Our bones, like us, are ever-changing, ever-evolving, and ever-adapting. And just as the light within them has been passed down through generations, so too will it be passed on to those who come after us. The memory of our bones, the light within them, will live on, carried in the genetic code that we pass on to the next generation. This light, this energy, this story will continue to evolve, adapting to the world around it, just as life itself adapts. The light in our bones is a connection not only to the past, but to the future. It is the energy that will continue to shape the world, that will continue to guide the evolution of life on Earth. The more we understand the light within us, the more we realize that we are not separate from the world around us, but a part of the grand narrative of life. The stories written in our bones are not our own. They are the stories of all life, interwoven with the rhythms of the earth, with the forces of nature, and with the cycles of time. In this way, the light that lives in our bones is a reminder of our interconnectedness, of our place in the vast web of life. It is a force that binds us together, that connects us to the generations that came before us and the generations that will come after. As we walk through life, we are carrying this light with us, a light that has been passed down through the ages and will continue to shine long after we are gone. It is a reminder that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, that our lives are not isolated but intricately connected to the world around us. The light in our bones is the energy of life itself, flowing through us and through every living thing. It is a force that sustains us, that guides us, and that will continue to carry us forward from one generation to the next. And as we honor the light within us, we also honor the world that sustains us. For the light in our bones is not just ours, it belongs to the earth, to the stars, to the universe. It is a gift, one that we must protect and cherish, for it is the very essence of life. The brain, the most complex organ in the human body, is a masterful orchestra of electrical impulses. This organ, with its billions of neurons, is constantly sending and receiving signals, creating the symphony that makes us think, feel, and experience the world. The electricity of thought is not an abstract concept. It is the very pulse of our existence, the energy that fuels our minds and shapes our perceptions. Inside the brain, the neurons are like tiny electrical wires, transmitting signals at incredible speeds, faster than we can imagine. These signals travel along intricate networks of synapses, jumping from one neuron to another, creating a continuous flow of information that allows us to think, move, and understand. The brain's electrical activity is what gives rise to consciousness, to the sense of self, to everything we are and everything we experience. The brain's power lies in its ability to generate and manipulate electrical impulses, using them to control every aspect of our behavior, our thoughts, and our emotions. This is how we process information, how we learn, how we form memories, and how we react to the world around us. The brain is an intricate network of electrical activity, a web of interconnected neurons, each one communicating with others to create the experiences we call life. The electricity of thought is not just about the firing of neurons in the brain. It is the result of a complex dance of chemicals and electrical signals, all working together to create our consciousness. The brain uses electricity to transmit signals, but it also uses chemicals, known as neurotransmitters, to amplify and regulate these signals. Dopamine, serotonin, glutamate, and many other neurotransmitters play a crucial role in controlling the brain's electrical activity, ensuring that the right signals are sent at the right time. Without the proper balance of these chemicals, the brain cannot function correctly, and thought, emotion, and memory are disrupted. This delicate balance of electrical impulses and chemical signals is what allows the brain to create the experiences that define us. It is through this electrical activity that we are able to perceive the world, to understand what is happening around us, and to make decisions. The electricity of thought is the energy that powers our mind, our senses, and our actions. The brain is constantly firing electrical signals, even when we are not consciously aware of it. These signals are at the heart of everything we do, from the moment we wake up in the morning to the moment we fall asleep at night. Even while we sleep, our brains are still active, processing information, consolidating memories, and organizing thoughts. The electricity of thought does not stop. It hums in the background of our lives, driving every action, every thought, every emotion. But the electricity of thought is not limited to the brain alone. It spreads throughout the entire nervous system, controlling not just our mental state but our physical body as well. The electrical impulses generated by the brain are responsible for everything from moving our muscles to regulating our heartbeat. The nervous system is the communication network that connects the brain to every part of the body, sending signals that tell the muscles to contract, the heart to beat, and the organs to function. This electrical network is essential for our survival, for it allows the brain to coordinate the activities of the body in real time. The electrical impulses that travel along the nerves are responsible for our ability to move, to respond to stimuli, and to interact with the world. They are the pathways that allow us to experience the physical world, from the feel of a soft breeze on our skin to the taste of food in our mouths. But what exactly is happening on a molecular level when we think, when we feel, when we act? How does the brain generate and transmit these electrical signals, and how do they translate into the complex experiences we call thought? To answer this question, we must look at the basic building blocks of the brain. At its core, the brain is made up of neurons, specialized cells that are capable of generating and transmitting electrical impulses. Neurons are connected to each other by synapses, tiny gaps between cells through which signals pass. When a neuron receives a signal, it generates an electrical charge that travels along its length, known as an action potential. This electrical signal is then passed on to neighboring neurons via the synapse. The transmission of electrical signals between neurons is the fundamental process that underlies thought and behavior. This process is not instantaneous. It is incredibly fast, with signals traveling at speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. The brain's electrical network is like a finely tuned circuit, transmitting information between cells at lightning speed, allowing us to think, act, and respond in real time. But the transmission of electrical signals is not a simple process. Neurons do not just send signals to one another in a one-way fashion. Instead, the electrical signals are modulated by the chemical environment within the brain. When an electrical signal reaches the end of a neuron, it triggers the release of neurotransmitters, which cross the synapse and bind to receptors on the next neuron. This interaction between electrical signals and neurotransmitters allows the brain to fine-tune its responses, creating a complex feedback loop that shapes the way we think, feel, and behave. This interplay between electricity and chemistry is at the heart of brain function, and it is what allows the brain to process information, form memories, and make decisions. The electricity of thought is not just about generating signals. It is about the way those signals are interpreted, regulated, and integrated into the broader network of the brain. In this way, thought is not a linear process, but a dynamic, ever-changing system of interactions between neurons, neurotransmitters, and the environment. It is a symphony of electrical activity, constantly evolving, constantly adapting. This dynamic nature of thought is what makes the brain so powerful. It allows us to think critically, to learn from experience, and to adapt to new challenges. The brain is not a static organ. It is constantly reorganizing itself, creating new connections and pathways, strengthening or weakening old ones. This plasticity, the ability of the brain to change and adapt, is one of the most remarkable features of our minds. But even as we marvel at the brain's capacity for thought, we must also recognize that the electricity of thought is fragile. The delicate balance of electrical signals and neurotransmitters can be disrupted by injury, illness, or disease, leading to disorders of the mind and body. Conditions such as depression, anxiety, epilepsy, and Alzheimer's disease are all related to disruptions in the brain's electrical activity. The brain's electrical system can be thrown out of sync, leading to changes in mood, behavior, and cognition. Understanding the electricity of thought, how it is generated and transmitted, is crucial not only for understanding how the brain works, but also for finding ways to heal when it breaks down. The electrical activity in the brain is both a force of creation and a force of destruction. It is the light that powers our thoughts, but it is also the source of the shadows that cloud our minds. It is a force that shapes us, that drives us, and that connects us to the world around us. And just as the electricity of thought connects our minds to our bodies, it connects us to the larger world, to the cosmos, to the universe itself. The very energy that powers our brains is the same energy that flows through the universe, the same energy that sustains life. Our thoughts, our consciousness, our sense of self are all reflections of this energy, this electricity that flows through us, connecting us to everything. The electricity of thought is the fundamental energy that drives us, shapes us, and connects us to the world around us. It is the pulse of life, flowing through the brain, the body, and the universe. This energy is not just a force within us, it is the force of life itself. And as we continue to explore the mysteries of the brain, we come to understand that this energy is not just the key to our thoughts, but to the very essence of who we are. The complexity of the brain's electrical signals is not just a fascinating feature of biology, but a testament to the elegance with which life has evolved to adapt to the world. These intricate electrical impulses form the basis for our thoughts, actions, and perceptions, creating a seamless integration between the mind and the body. However, this dynamic system is not a one-way street. Rather, it is a complex web of interactions, feedback loops, and modifications, all occurring in real time. When you experience the world, be it through a thought, a sensation, or an emotional response, your brain is simultaneously processing and responding to this information at a rate faster than the speed of conscious awareness. It is as though your brain is always 2 steps ahead, interpreting signals and preparing responses before you consciously recognize them. This constant activity is powered by electrical impulses traveling along pathways that span the vast expanse of the brain, creating what we understand as consciousness. The brain's ability to generate thought and action stems from the firing of neurons, which communicate through synapses using the power of electrical signals. These neurons, estimated to number around 86 billion in the human brain, communicate through complex networks, each neuron connecting with thousands of others, forming an intricate circuitry. This vast network allows the brain to process and store information, regulate bodily functions, and integrate sensory experiences, all in perfect harmony. When an electrical signal travels down a neuron, it is an event of both chemistry and electricity. The signal itself is a change in the electrical charge of the neuron, known as the action potential. Once this signal reaches the synapse, the gap between neurons, it causes the release of neurotransmitters, the brain's chemical messengers. These neurotransmitters cross the synapse and bind to receptors on the next neuron, influencing whether the electrical signal continues or is interrupted. It is in this delicate interaction between electricity and chemistry that thought arises. Imagine, if you will, a simple thought process, perhaps recognizing your reflection in a mirror. This seemingly simple act involves a complex series of electrical events. Light enters the eye, traveling through the lens to the retina, where it is converted into electrical signals by specialized cells. These signals then travel along the optic nerve to the visual cortex of the brain, where they are processed and interpreted. Simultaneously, other parts of the brain are engaged, triggering emotional responses, memories, or thoughts related to what you see. The brain's ability to bring these fragmented signals together into a coherent experience is nothing short of miraculous, and it all happens through the interplay of electrical impulses and chemical reactions. What is even more remarkable is that this process is not just a passive experience. It is dynamic, responsive, and constantly adapting. The brain is not a static organ, but one that is always changing, reshaping itself in response to new experiences. This ability to rewire itself, a process known as neuroplasticity, is a key feature of the brain's electrical activity. When you learn something new, when you experience something for the first time, your brain forms new connections, strengthens existing ones, or reassigns tasks to different regions. It is as though your brain is constantly building and rebuilding its network, adapting to the world and to the piece. Arson, you are becoming. Neuroplasticity is the brain's way of adapting to new challenges, of learning from experiences, and of forming memories. This electrical rewiring is a fundamental part of human development, allowing us to grow, to change, and to overcome obstacles. But while the brain is constantly reshaping itself, there are moments when the electrical currents of the mind can become disrupted, like a power surge short-circuiting a well-functioning system. This is when the balance within the brain falters, leading to conditions like epilepsy, schizophrenia, and other neurological disorders. The electrical activity in the brain becomes erratic, causing neurons to fire at inappropriate times or failing to communicate properly. It is in these moments of imbalance that the beauty and complexity of the brain's electrical system become all too apparent. The brain's delicate balance is not impervious to the forces that shape it. External factors like stress, lack of sleep, or trauma can cause disruptions in this finely tuned network. Yet even in these moments of disarray, there is hope. Just as the brain can form new connections, it can also learn to heal itself, to find a new equilibrium. When we engage in practices like meditation, mindfulness, or deep sleep, we are helping the brain recalibrate, allowing its electrical impulses to return to a state of balance. This capacity for self-regulation is a testament to the brain's resilience, its ability to adapt to the challenges of life and emerge stronger. But this journey is not just about the brain's resilience, it is about the electricity of thought itself. The very process of thinking, of generating ideas, emotions, and memories, is fueled by these electrical signals. Thought is not a passive experience. It is an active, dynamic force that shapes our reality. Every thought, every emotion, every decision we make is the result of a complex interplay of electrical signals firing through the brain. The idea of free will, of choice, is deeply tied to this electrical activity. We like to think that our decisions are made consciously, that we are in full control of our actions. But the brain is often working in the background, processing information, weighing options, and preparing responses before we are even aware of it. The electricity of thought is not just about conscious awareness. It is about the unconscious mind, the deep currents of activity that influence our behavior, our beliefs, and our actions. These hidden electrical processes are the foundation of who we are and how we interact with the world. Thought, then, is not just a product of the brain's electrical activity. It is a reflection of the world around us. The brain is constantly interacting with its environment, responding to stimuli, integrating sensory experiences, and processing them in real time. The signals that travel through our neurons are not just triggered by the brain itself, but by the world we live in. Every touch, every sound, every smell, every sight sends signals to the brain, and in turn the brain reacts, making sense of these inputs, constructing meaning, and guiding us in our response. It is in this constant exchange of information, this dance of electricity and chemistry, that our reality is created. We are not passive observers of the world. We are active participants in the creation of our experiences. The electricity of thought shapes the way we perceive the world and the way we interact with it. But as the world changes, so too does the electricity of our thoughts. New experiences, new challenges, new relationships, and new environments all influence the way our brain processes information. Just as the brain rewires itself in response to new learning, it also adapts to new circumstances, adjusting its electrical signals to reflect the changes in the world. The electricity of thought is a living force, one that flows in response to the ebb and flow of life. And just as the electrical signals of the brain shape our thoughts and actions, they also shape our very identity. Our memories, our habits, our personalities are all constructed from the constant activity of neurons firing and forming connections. These connections, these electrical pathways, are the framework of who we are. They tell the story of our lives, one impulse at a time, one thought at a time. The electricity of thought is not just a phenomenon that happens inside our heads. It is the essence of who we are. It is the force that shapes our experience of life and the way we move through the world. It is the energy that drives us, that propels us forward, that connects us to everything around us. The brain's electrical activity is the most intimate expression of life. It is the symphony of thought, of emotion, of existence. And just as the brain's electricity is central to our experience of life, it is also a reminder of the fragility of that experience. A disruption in this delicate balance, a misfire and the brain's electrical impulses can have profound consequences, changing the way we think, the way we feel, the way we live. Yet even in these moments of disruption, the brain has the power to heal, to adapt, to rewire itself and find a new balance. The electricity of thought is not just a scientific marvel. It is the force that makes us who we are, that gives us our sense of self, that connects us to the world around us. And as we continue to explore the mysteries of the brain, we discover that the electricity of thought is not just the key to understanding the mind, but the key to understanding the very essence of life itself. If you step into a garden at dawn and watch the leaves sway in the breeze, it is not simply the wind that moves them. It is a delicate, rhythmic dance that has been going on for millions of years, driven by the quiet ticking of an internal clock, a clock that governs the life of the plant, guiding its growth, its flowering, and its ability to adapt to the rhythm of the day. Just as we rely on the rising and setting of the sun to mark the passage of time, plants too have their own way of counting the hours, measuring the cycle of day and night, the shifting of light and darkness, and adjusting their actions accordingly. This inner clock, known as the circadian rhythm, is a biological mechanism that allows plants to sense the time of day and to synchronize their activities with the external environment. It is a sophisticated system that governs everything from the opening and closing of flowers to the way plants manage their energy throughout the day. The rhythm is not just a reaction to light and dark, but an active process that involves complex biochemical reactions, genetic expressions, and internal signaling pathways that regulate the plant's behavior. Plants, like animals and humans, have a biological clock that dictates when they are most active, when they should rest, and when they should be in sync with the changing environment. This sense of time, the ability to anticipate the cycle of the day, is a fundamental aspect of plant life. It is this rhythm that enables them to optimize their growth, to maximize their ability to absorb sunlight, and to ensure that they are ready for the challenges that each new day brings. Just as a bird wakes at dawn, flutters its wings and stretches, so too do plants awaken with the light. Their leaves reach out to the sun, absorbing its warmth, fueling the process of photosynthesis, and converting sunlight into the energy they need to grow. This daily cycle of energy production, where light is captured during the day and stored for use at night, is guided by the circadian rhythm, which regulates not only the timing of photosynthesis, but also the plant's metabolic processes. When night falls and the sun disappears from the sky, plants begin their period of rest, conserving energy and performing maintenance processes that prepare them for the next day. This sleep, this quiet period of stillness, is just as important as their active hours in the light. During this time, plants repair damaged cells, synthesize important proteins, and ensure that their internal machinery is running smoothly. The circadian rhythm of plants is not just a response to external cues like light and dark, but an intrinsic part of their biology. It is programmed into their genetic code, allowing them to measure time with incredible precision. This internal clock is incredibly sensitive and can even continue to function in the absence of light. Scientists have discovered that if a plant is kept in a dark environment for several days, its circadian rhythm still persists, with the plant continuing to follow its internal clock, even without the usual cues from the sun. This ability to keep time without external input is a key feature of the circadian rhythm, and it highlights the deep connection between life and the passage of time. It is not just about reacting to the world around them, but about maintaining a steady, predictable rhythm that ensures survival. In many ways, the circadian rhythm in plants is the very heartbeat of the plant's life cycle, ticking away in the background, guiding every decision, every movement, and every growth cycle. This internal timing is so crucial that it influences the plant's ability to reproduce. Flowers, for example, will bloom at specific times of day, often opening their petals in the early morning hours to attract pollinators, and closing them again when the light fades. This careful timing ensures that the plant's reproductive cycle is aligned with the environment, maximizing the chances of successful pollination and seed production. Similarly, many plants rely on the cycle of the moon and the tides to regulate their reproductive strategies. Some plants, such as the night-blooming cereus, only open their flowers under the cover of darkness, when the temperature and humidity are just right for pollination. This synchronization, the rhythms of the earth, is a survival strategy, one that has evolved over millions of years, ensuring that plants can adapt to changing environments and continue to thrive in a constantly shifting world. The circadian rhythm is not just a guide for growth, It is also a mechanism that helps plants conserve energy and resources. By timing their activities with the day-night cycle, plants can maximize their efficiency, ensuring that they use the least amount of energy necessary for survival. This system of timekeeping is a testament to the intricate balance that plants maintain with their surroundings. Their ability to anticipate the day ahead, to know when to open their leaves and when to close them, when to bloom and when to rest, allows them to function at peak efficiency, minimizing waste and maximizing their ability to thrive. This connection between light, time, and energy is a reflection of the larger rhythms of nature, where everything is interconnected. Plants, like all living organisms, are part of a larger cyclical process that is governed by the forces of nature, the rise and fall of the sun, the changing of the seasons, the ebb and flow of the tides. This natural rhythm is not just something plants respond to. It is something that shapes their existence, their survival, and their place in the ecosystem. The circadian rhythm of plants is just one example of the many ways in which life is synchronized with the Earth's natural cycles. It is a reminder that everything in nature is connected, that life on this planet is not random or chaotic, but governed by a deep and ancient order. Just as the plants follow the rhythm of the Earth, so too do animals, insects, and even humans in their own way. The natural cycles of day and night, of light and dark, of growth and rest, are the backdrop against which all life unfolds. And just as plants are finely tuned to these rhythms, so too must we learn to align ourselves with the natural world around us. The circadian rhythm of plants is a model for understanding our own relationship with time, with nature, and with the passage of life. We too have internal clocks that guide our daily routines, our sleep cycles, and our physical and emotional responses to the world. Just as plants rely on their internal timing to survive, so do we. Our health, our well-being, and our connection to the world depend on our ability to live in harmony with these natural rhythms. Plants, in their silent wisdom, remind us of the importance of timing, of balance, and of respect for the world around us. They are not just passive organisms, but active participants in the great dance of life, moving with the rhythms of the earth and teaching us to do the same. As we continue to unravel the intricate relationship between plants and time, it becomes clear that the circadian rhythm is not just a survival mechanism. It is an essential aspect of life's broader story. This rhythm is a reminder of the deep wisdom embedded in nature. The ways plants sense and respond to time demonstrate an ancient connection to the planet, one that humans in our busy, modern lives often overlook. Yet beneath the surface of our daily routines, the very essence of life is guided by these subtle, unspoken rhythms. The plants around us, whether in a forest, a meadow, or our own homes, are in constant communication with their environment, listening to the cues of light, temperature, and even the seasons. They rely on this steady, rhythmic timing to survive, thrive, and reproduce, reminding us that time is more than just a measurement. It is an active, living force that influences all things. The gentle unfolding of a leaf in the early morning, the slow turning of a sunflower toward the sun, the blooming of a flower at dusk, these are all actions dictated by the plant's internal clock, its circadian rhythm. Plants do not just grow passively in response to external factors, they actively measure and adjust to the rhythms of the earth. In fact, plants have evolved sophisticated mechanisms for tuning their biological processes to these natural cycles, ensuring their optimal survival. As the sun rises in the morning, light enters the leaves, signaling the plant to begin photosynthesis. This process, which turns sunlight into energy, is carefully synchronized with the rhythm of day and night. During the night, when the sun sets and light fades, the plant slows down, conserving energy and shifting into maintenance mode. This regulation of activity, this alternating between action and rest, is a cycle that mirrors the rhythms of life itself. Just as we wake in the morning, ready to take on the world, and rest at night, recovering our energy, plants follow their own rhythm, balancing their energy needs with the demands of their environment. The transition between day and night is one of the most critical times for plants. This is when the circadian rhythm helps them adapt to the changing conditions around them, shifting their metabolic processes to align with the changing light. In the morning, the plant is actively absorbing sunlight, generating energy, and storing it for later use. As the day wanes and the sun sets, the plant shifts its focus to other vital functions, such as nutrient absorption and cellular repair. This rhythm is not just a passive reaction to the environment, it is an active process of adaptation and optimization. In this way, plants are not simply responding to their surroundings, but actively engaging with the flow of time, shaping their behavior to ensure they remain healthy and vibrant. But this connection to time extends beyond the daily cycle. Just as plants respond to the day-night rhythm, they are also finely tuned to the broader rhythms of the year. Seasonal changes, such as the length of days and the temperature fluctuations, play a crucial role in plant growth and reproduction. Many plants are sensitive to these subtle shifts, adjusting their behavior to the changing seasons. As autumn approaches and the days shorten, many plants begin the process of dormancy, preparing for the cold winter months. They slow their growth, conserve energy, and focus on survival. When spring arrives and the days lengthen, the plants respond by waking up, resuming growth, and beginning the cycle of blooming, pollination, and reproduction once again. These seasonal rhythms are just as important to plants as the daily cycle, and the ability to sense and adapt to these changes ensures that plants can continue to thrive in an ever-changing world. The importance of these rhythms cannot be overstated. Without the ability to sync with the day-night cycle and the changing seasons, plants would be unable to optimize their growth and reproduction. They would be at the mercy of random environmental factors, unable to predict the coming of rain or the arrival of winter. It is through these rhythmic patterns that plants maintain balance and order in their lives. This synchronization with time, the dance between action and rest, between growth and dormancy, is what allows plants to remain resilient in the face of challenges. And it is this very resilience that has allowed them to survive for millions of years. But the memory of time does not end with the daily and seasonal rhythms. There is also a deeper, more profound connection between plants and time, one that links them to the broader history of the Earth itself. Plants have been on this planet for nearly as long as life has existed, and in their growth patterns, they carry the imprints of that long history. From the first green mosses that appeared billions of years ago to the towering trees that now dominate our forests, plants have continually adapted to the changing world. The evolutionary story of plants is a testament to the passage of time, to the ever-changing landscape of the earth. Every plant, from the smallest wildflower to the tallest redwood, carries within it the story of its ancestors. Its growth, its form, and its behavior are shaped not only by its immediate environment, but by the history of life on Earth. The memory of time is encoded in the plant's DNA, passed down from generation to generation, as each plant adapts to the world in its own unique way. Plants, through their circadian rhythms and seasonal cycles, reflect the passage of time in the most intimate way. They are not just passive participants in the world, they are active agents, responding to the rhythms of the earth, adapting to the cycles of life, and shaping the landscape in ways that are both beautiful and essential. Yet, as we begin to understand the deep connection between plants and time, we also realize that this connection is under threat. The pace of change in the world is accelerating, and the delicate rhythms of nature are being disrupted by human activity. Climate change, pollution, habitat loss, and deforestation are all contributing to the breakdown of these natural rhythms. Plants are struggling to keep pace with the rapid changes in the environment, and many species are at risk of extinction. As the climate warms, the timing of plant growth and reproduction is being thrown out of sync, disrupting the delicate balance of ecosystems. Seasons are shifting, and plants are being forced to adapt to new conditions more quickly than ever before. For some species, this adaptation may be too slow. In this way, the memory of time, the intricate, finely tuned relationship between plants and the rhythms of the earth, is being threatened. The consequences of this disruption are far-reaching, affecting not only the plants themselves but the entire web of life that depends on them. Plants are the foundation of the food chain, the primary producers in ecosystems that sustain all life. Without healthy plants, the animals that depend on them for food would perish, and the balance of the ecosystem would collapse. We too depend on plants for food, oxygen, and the regulation of our climate. The loss of plant species would have devastating consequences for humanity, for we are inextricably linked to the rhythms of nature. As we move forward, it is clear that we must do more to protect the natural world and restore the balance that has been disrupted. We must learn from the resilience of plants, from their ability to adapt to time and to thrive in the face of challenges. By protecting their habitats, reducing our impact on the environment, and addressing the challenges posed by climate change, we can help ensure that plants continue to thrive. The memory of plants, the way they count the hours, the seasons, and the passage of time, is a powerful reminder of our place in the world. It is a reminder that we are not separate from nature but a part of it, and that our future is tied to the health of the planet and its ecosystems. The rhythms of nature embodied in the lives of plants are a vital part of the world's story. By protecting these rhythms, we protect the future of life on Earth, for the light that guides the plants is the same light that guides us. In the heart of a quiet forest, where the sunlight filters through the canopy in soft beams and the air is rich with the scent of moss and earth, there exists an ancient wisdom carried silently on the wind. The trees, with their deep roots and towering trunks, are not merely silent witnesses to the passage of time, they are storytellers. Their stories are written not in words but in rings of wood, in the growth of their leaves and in the deep crevices of their bark. Trees, like the earth itself, carry the history of the world within them. Their roots stretch deep into the soil, their branches reach toward the sky, and their leaves whisper in the breeze, telling tales of a time long past. The wisdom of ancient trees is not something that can be easily understood. It is a wisdom that comes from millennia of growth, from centuries of reaching toward the sun, and from surviving the many changes of the world. The oldest trees on Earth have witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, the shifting of continents, and the ebb and flow of countless seasons. They have endured storms, droughts, and fires, each challenge shaping them, molding them into resilient beings. Their survival is a testament to the power of adaptation, to the ability to endure and thrive in the face of adversity. But this resilience is not just a product of time. It is a reflection of the deep connection between trees and the earth itself. Trees are not isolated from the world around them. They are deeply intertwined with the ecosystems that surround them. The roots of trees reach deep into the soil, drawing nutrients and water, while their branches reach up to the sky, capturing sunlight and exchanging gases with the atmosphere. This process, known as photosynthesis, is the lifeblood of trees, providing them with the energy they need to grow, to flower, and to reproduce. In return, trees give back to the earth. They release oxygen into the atmosphere, provide shelter for countless animals, and play a crucial role in regulating the climate. Trees are the lungs of the earth, absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen, maintaining the balance of gases in the atmosphere. In this way, trees are not just passive organisms, they are active participants in the health of the planet, working in harmony with the environment to ensure the survival of life. The wisdom of ancient trees is not just a reflection of their age or size, it is a reflection of their interconnectedness with the world. Trees are capable of sensing their environment in ways that we can only begin to understand. They communicate with each other through the soil, sharing resources and sending signals to warn one another of potential threats. This network of communication is known as the Wood Wide Web, a complex system of fungal networks that connects the roots of trees and other plants. Through this network, trees can exchange nutrients, defend against pests, and even send messages of distress when they are under threat. In this sense, trees are not solitary beings, but part of a vast, interconnected community, one that spans entire forests and ecosystems. The whispers of ancient trees are not just the rustling of leaves in the wind. They are the voices of wisdom, of survival, and of resilience. Each tree tells a story, and these stories are written in the rings of their wood, in the leaves that flutter in the breeze, and in the shadows they cast on the forest floor. As trees grow, they record the passage of time in the rings that form inside their trunks. Each ring represents a year of growth, and the width of the rings can reveal information about the conditions in which the tree lived. A narrow ring may indicate a year of drought or stress, while a wider ring may signal a year of abundance. These rings are like the pages of a history book, offering a glimpse into the past and allowing us to read stories of the trees that have lived for centuries. But it is not just the rings that tell the story. The leaves of trees, too, carry memories. The shape, size, and color of a leaf can reveal much about the tree's environment, its health, and the changes it has experienced over time. Trees respond to changes in the environment, and their leaves are a reflection of those changes. When the seasons shift and the air becomes cooler, the leaves of deciduous trees begin to change color, transitioning from green to shades of red, orange, and yellow. This process, known as senescence, is a natural part of the tree's cycle. It marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. As the leaves fall from the tree, they return to the soil, decomposing and enriching the earth with nutrients, ensuring the cycle of life continues. This process of renewal is part of the story that trees tell, a story of life, death, and rebirth. It is a story that stretches across the seasons, from the first buds of spring to the last falling leaf of autumn. But the wisdom of trees is not just in their ability to survive and adapt to the changing seasons. It is in their ability to endure through the most difficult of circumstances. Trees are capable of living for centuries, and some species can even survive for thousands of years. The oldest known living tree, a bristlecone pine named Methuselah, is over 4,800 years old. It has witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations, the changing of the climate, and the ebb and flow of history. Methuselah stands as a living testament to the resilience of trees and to the wisdom that comes with age. The ability of trees to endure, to thrive, and to adapt to their environment is a reflection of the larger forces at work in nature. Trees do not just survive the changes of the world, they help shape the world. Through their roots, they stabilize the soil, preventing erosion and protecting the land. Through their leaves, they provide shade, cooling the air and reducing the impact of climate change. Trees are the architects of the landscape, shaping the world in subtle yet profound ways. The wisdom of ancient trees is not just about survival, it is about their ability to create harmony in the world, to foster balance and sustainability. They are a model for how we can live in harmony with the planet, how we can work together with nature to create a healthier, more resilient world. The stories of ancient trees are stories of patience, of growth, of interconnectedness. They remind us that life is not just about individual survival, but about the relationships we form with others, with the environment, and with the planet as a whole. The whispers of the trees speak to the importance of community, of shared resources, and of the need to care for the world that sustains us. In this sense, the wisdom of ancient trees is a gift, one that can guide us toward a more sustainable future. The trees, with their deep roots and their slow growth, teach us that resilience is not about rushing forward, but about adapting to the rhythms of life, about growing slowly and steadily, and about enduring through the changes that come. They remind us that the passage of time is not something to fear, but something to embrace. For in time, everything grows, everything changes, and everything returns to the earth. The wisdom of trees is timeless, and it is a lesson that we would do well to learn. The sun, the heart of our solar system, is a constant presence in our lives. It rises each day, casting light and warmth across the earth, giving life to plants, animals, and every living thing. But the sun's influence goes far beyond what we can see. Its light does more than just illuminate the world. It carries with it the energy that powers all life. From the smallest bacterium to the tallest trees, every living creature depends on the sun's energy, which is captured through the process of photosynthesis. But the sun is not just a passive giver of life. It is also a force that drives the dynamics of the planet itself. The sun's gravitational pull keeps the Earth in orbit, and its heat regulates the planet's climate, creating the seasons that guide the rhythms of nature. Without the sun, life as we know it would not exist, for it is the source of energy that fuels the planet's ecosystems, from the oceans to the mountains. Yet, despite its importance, the sun is often taken for granted, its role in sustaining life only dimly understood. We see the sunlight that warms our skin, we feel the heat of the summer sun, but the deeper connection between the sun and life on Earth remains a mystery to many. This story is about the sun and the vital role it plays in the story of life, a force that transcends the boundaries of time and space, guiding the rhythms of the Earth and of life itself. The sun's influence begins with its light, the radiant energy that it emits in the form of electromagnetic waves. This light travels across vast distance, crossing the vast expanse of space before it reaches the Earth, and when it does, it interacts with the atmosphere and the surface of the planet in ways that we can only begin to understand. The sunlight that reaches the Earth's surface is made up of different wavelengths, each carrying different amounts of energy. Some of this energy is absorbed by the Earth's surface, warming the ground, the water, and the air. Some of the energy is reflected back into space, while some is absorbed by the atmosphere, creating the conditions for weather and climate. This delicate balance of light, heat, and energy is what creates the conditions necessary for life to thrive. The energy that is absorbed by the Earth's surface is used by plants in the process of photosynthesis, where they convert the sun's energy into chemical energy, which they use to grow. Plants are the foundation of the food chain, providing food and oxygen for the animals that depend on them. In turn, animals, including humans, rely on plants for sustenance and survival. Without the sun, the process of photosynthesis would not be possible, and without photosynthesis, there would be no food, no oxygen, and no life. The sun's energy is also responsible for the water cycle, which plays a crucial role in regulating the Earth's temperature and providing water for plants and animals. The sun heats the oceans, causing water to evaporate into the atmosphere. This water vapor then condenses, forming clouds, and eventually falls as rain, replenishing rivers, lakes, and groundwater. The water cycle, powered by the sun's energy, is essential for life, ensuring that fresh water is continually replenished and that ecosystems remain balanced. The sun's influence is not limited to the biological world. It also shapes the physical world, from the movement of the oceans to the winds that blow across the planet. The sun's energy drives the Earth's weather patterns, creating the winds that circulate the air and the currents that move through the oceans. These forces shape the landscapes of the planet, creating deserts, forests, and mountain ranges, and influencing the habitats in which life flourishes. The sun's role in shaping the Earth's climate is evident in the way it creates the seasons. The tilt of the Earth's axis, combined with the sun's position relative to the Earth, creates the cycle of seasons that governs the planet's climate. During the summer months, the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun, resulting in longer days and warmer temperatures. In the winter, the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, leading to shorter days and colder temperatures. This cycle of seasons, created by the sun's movements, has a profound effect on the ecosystems of the planet. Plants and animals have evolved to adapt to these seasonal changes, adjusting their behavior, growth, and reproduction to the rhythms of the Earth. The changing of the seasons also affects human life, guiding our agricultural practices, determining the foods we grow, and influencing our cultural traditions. Yet, while the sun is a source of life, it can also be a source of danger. The same energy that powers the growth of plants and the circulation of the weather can also cause harm. The sun emits radiation in the form of ultraviolet UV rays, which can damage living tissue, leading to burns, skin cancer, and other health problems. Too much exposure to the sun's radiation can also disrupt the delicate balance of ecosystems, affecting the health of plants, animals, and even the atmosphere itself. The ozone layer, a protective shield around the Earth, absorbs much of the sun's harmful UV radiation, but human activities, such as the use of certain chemicals, have damaged this layer, allowing more UV radiation to reach the planet's surface. This damage to the ozone layer has led to an increase in skin cancer rates, the depletion of certain ecosystems, and changes to the climate. The sun's energy, while vital to life, is also a reminder of the fragility of our existence. It is a force that must be respected, a force that must be understood. The sun is a constant presence in our lives, but its power is not infinite. We must learn to live in harmony with the sun, protecting our health, our planet, and our future. As we look to the future, we must also recognize the role that the sun plays in the broader context of the universe. The sun, like all stars, is part of a vast cosmic cycle. It was born billions of years ago from a cloud of gas and dust, and it will eventually exhaust its fuel, expanding into a red giant before shrinking into a white dwarf. The life cycle of the sun is mirrored by the life cycles of countless stars across the universe. The sun, in this sense, is a link in a chain that stretches across the cosmos, a part of the great cosmic dance that drives the evolution of the universe. The energy that powers the sun is the same energy that powers the stars, and it is this energy thaw. T fuels the processes of life across the universe. The song of the sun is not just the song of Earth, but the song of the cosmos. It is the heartbeat of the universe, the pulse that sustains life, the rhythm that governs the stars, the planets, and the galaxies. The song of the sun reminds us that we are not isolated from the universe but an integral part of it, that the energy that sustains us is the same energy that sustains all life. In the sun's rays, we are connected to the stars, to the vastness of the cosmos, and to the forces that shape the universe. As we bask in the warmth of the sun, we are not just receiving energy from a distant star, we are participating in the great cosmic symphony. The sun's song is the song of life itself, and we are all part of it. As the sun reaches its zenith in the sky, it does more than just illuminate the world. It embodies the delicate interplay of light and energy, shaping not just the physical realm but the rhythms of life that echo throughout the natural world. For every living organism on Earth, the sun's presence is a defining force. Its light, its warmth, and its energy are the undercurrents of existence, shaping the pulse of life in ways that transcend mere biological processes. Plants, in their quiet wisdom, are perhaps the most direct witnesses to the sun's song. They reach toward the light, stretching their leaves toward the sky, each leaf a small solar panel, capturing sunlight and converting it into the energy that fuels the world. This process, known as photosynthesis, is the most fundamental act of life on Earth. It is through the energy harnessed from the sun that plants are able to produce the oxygen we breathe, the food we consume, and the very essence of life itself. Without the sun, this chain of events would not be possible. Yet, despite its significance, the sun is far more than just a source of sustenance. It is an essential part of the cycle of life, influencing not only the growth and survival of plants, but the very structure of the Earth's ecosystems. The rhythm of life is tied intimately to the sun's cycles. From the rising of the sun to the setting of the sun, the activities of the natural world are inextricably linked to this celestial body. The changing of the seasons, the ebb and flow of tides, the behavior of animals, the growth patterns of plants, all are synchronized with the sun's journey across the sky. When the sun rises in the east, life stirs. The warmth of the morning light awakens the world, coaxing animals from their dens, rousing plants from their slumber. As the day progresses, the sun's rays grow stronger, its light more intense, encouraging activity. The animals, too, are governed by the sun's presence. Birds take flight, insects buzz in the air, and mammals emerge from their hiding places, all energized by the warmth and light that the sun provides. But as the sun begins to set in the west, the world starts to slow. The plants that have been basking in its glow turn their attention to the cycle of rest, and the creatures of the land begin to retreat to their homes, taking shelter in the cooling shadows of the evening. This daily rhythm, dictated by the sun, is the pulse that drives life on Earth. It is a pulse that has been steady and unbroken for billions of years, a rhythm that has shaped the development of life in every corner of the planet. This synchronization between life and the sun's cycles is a dance that is not limited to the Earth's surface. The sun's energy also reaches deep into the Earth's atmosphere, driving the movement of air, the formation of clouds, and the circulation of the oceans. The planet's weather patterns, its temperature, and its climate are all directly influenced by the sun's energy. The sun's heat warms the Earth's surface, causing the air to rise and form convection currents. These currents drive the movement of winds, which in turn influence the movement of the oceans. The ocean, in its vastness, absorbs much of the sun's heat, regulating the planet's climate and distributing energy across the globe. This intricate web of interactions between the sun, the atmosphere, and the oceans is what creates the conditions that make life possible on Earth. The sun's energy is also responsible for the water cycle, the continuous movement of water through the environment. The sun heats the surface of the oceans, causing water to evaporate into the atmosphere. This water vapor forms clouds, which eventually release the water as rain, replenishing rivers, lakes, and groundwater. In this way, the sun's energy drives the movement of water, maintaining the balance of the Earth's ecosystems and providing the necessary conditions for plant and animal life to thrive. Yet, even as the sun provides for life, it is not without its complexities. The very energy that sustains the Earth also has the potential to cause harm. The sun emits various types of radiation, including ultraviolet UV rays which, though invisible to the naked eye, have powerful effects on the Earth. UV radiation can be harmful to living organisms, causing DNA damage and increasing the risk of cancer. However, the Earth is protected from much of this harmful radiation by the ozone layer, a thin shield in the atmosphere that absorbs and reflects UV rays. Without the ozone layer, life on Earth would be exposed to higher levels of radiation, and the delicate balance of life would be disrupted. Unfortunately, human activity has caused significant damage to the ozone layer, allowing more UV radiation to reach the surface. The depletion of the ozone layer is a reminder of the profound connection between life and the sun, and how the delicate balance of nature can be easily upset. The sun's energy is not just a source of life, but a powerful reminder of the fragility of that life. It is a force that, when harnessed correctly, can sustain life for billions of years, but when disrupted, can threaten the very ecosystems that depend on it. The sun's song is not just a celebration of life, it is a call to action, urging us to protect the forces that sustain us and to recognize the delicate balance of the natural world. But the connection between the sun and life goes beyond the practical. The sun's energy is also a source of inspiration, of wonder, of spiritual connection. Throughout history, civilizations have revered the sun as a deity, seeing it as a symbol of life, light, and power. The Egyptians worshipped Ra, the sun god, who they believed created life and order in the universe. The Aztecs saw the sun as the giver of life and considered it essential for their agricultural cycles. Across cultures and time periods, the sun has been seen as a divine force, central to the understanding of existence and the cycles of life. For many, the sun represents hope, renewal, and the promise of a new day. It is a symbol of the power of light to overcome darkness, of the cyclical nature of life, and of the eternal return of the sun's warmth and energy. In this sense, the sun is not just a celestial body, but a symbol of the resilience of life itself. The sun's song, though heard differently by each culture, is a song of life, of creation, and of the interconnectedness of all things. It reminds us that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, that our lives are intimately connected to the rhythms of the earth and the universe. The light of the sun not only fuels the physical processes that sustain life, but also provides us with a deeper understanding of our place in the cosmos. As we look to the future, the sun's song will continue to guide us, reminding us of our responsibility to protect the earth, to honor the natural cycles that sustain us, and to live in harmony with the forces of nature. The sun, in all its glory and power, is a force of creation, a force of balance, and a force of hope. It is a reminder that life is both fragile and resilient, that we are connected to the world in ways that transcend our individual lives, and that we must care for the earth that sustains us. The song of the sun is the song of life itself, and it will continue to echo through the universe long after we are gone.